So I was just live and I don't have very good signal, unfortunately. I hope I can stay live. Um, it's been such a lazy for me. I actually got a ton of sleep last night, which I so desperately needed. Um, let's see what else. So I slept in until about 9 o'clock this morning. Hey, sorry, the other live stream failed because I still had my phone set to connect to Wi-Fi. And so it was trying to reach my signal back there about 2 poles back. Anyway, let's see. So today I've been logging my food. I've been tracking my food. I know my calories are over budget. At the last thing I tracked, I was at 1,700 calories, and you know my calorie goal is 1,500 or less. Now, there are those of you that say that you can eat way more calories than that, but I have found that when I eat more than 1,700 calories, especially 3 or 4 days in a row, I will actually start gaining weight. So the basal metabolic rate, the BMI, the calorie suggestions that are made by most calorie apps do not take into consideration somebody's age, somebody's metabolism, am I menopause? Most women at age 50 are not in full-blown menopause. Most women don't even start perimenopause until their mid to late 40s. So my metabolism, I do about 800, but pain burns calories. Oh, hey, how are you doing, Miss Nona? Let's go, girls. We don't have to chase every bug, I promise. I'm out with my girls today, Miss Nona. That is Karma and Calypso. And we are watching this spectacular sunset tonight. I gotta get some steps. I feel guilty when I don't exercise. I feel really guilty when I don't exercise. There is something inside my brain that when I eat and I don't work out, that I think, oh, you're going to get fat. You're going to get fat. Oh my gosh, you've got to get on the treadmill. You got to do a trampoline workout. You've got to pick up the weights. You've got to, you just ate something. You've got to move. It is, it's really a sickness in my head sometimes. But anyway, I'm not really going very fast. And of course, my girls are not going to let me go very fast because they're going to stop and smell every acorn that has dropped from the trees. It was a beautiful day here. I know the sky right now looks kind of cloudy. We just finished raining. But it is about 70. If I had to guess, it's about 76 degrees right now. We got up into the 80s today. So had an air conditioner running. It was pretty humid. It's pretty gross today. But anyway, I kept it keto. Even with me going over my calorie budget, everything that I've eaten today is keto friendly. My macros are still fantastic. I think I've gone over my protein 10 grams. Ugh, I hate snow. I think I've gone over my protein 10 grams and over my fat like 17 grams. But I'm still at 18 total carbs. And I think 12 or 13 net carbs. So I'm still doing really good as far as carbohydrates. I've just eaten way too many calories. According to my Fitbit, of course, you can see here, or maybe not, I've only got 2,000 steps in today. According to Fitbit, the last I updated or opened my Fitbit app, it says that I've only burned about 1,500 calories today. So I've definitely eaten too much. But these girls need to go for a walk because they're so rambunctious all the time. And if I don't take them for a walk, a lot of times they rebel by peeing on the floor or tearing up a couch cushion or whatever. Sorry about your computer, Miss Nona. So let's see. So I had a rest day today. I did get about an hour more of sleep than I normally get. I think I had 7 hours and 15 minutes of sleep last night. I am not sure what's happening. I woke up with another horrible hot flash. Horrible. I mean, it was, and here's the thing. The last time I had my hormones checked, my estrogen was null and void. Like, even the doctor said, you have no estrogen left. Which has created a lot of other feminine problems, as you can imagine. I do, Miss Nona. You're right. I have such a huge fear of gaining weight. The fear is like unreal. It consumes my every thought. You know, even as we speak tonight, my husband and I was planning for my carnival cruise in December. And that's right. You're going to be going on that keto cruise pretty soon, aren't you, Sheena? But my husband and I were planning our cruise, and as I pay down the cruise like $200-300, I'll go ahead and I'll buy like a cruise cash card for 25. So basically what that does is it builds your on-ship credit. That way we don't have to bring a lot of cash with us. You know, when I have the extra money, I can do it. Yeah. When I have the extra money, I can, put an extra 25 towards casino cash or towards a drink tab. Or tonight I paid $89 and it's called Faster to Fun. And basically what Faster to Fun works like a Disney Fast Pass, you know, where they let you get on the ship first, you get moved to the front of the line. It came with a $50. So think about this. I spent $89 for my husband and I to have the fast pass. That means that we're first aboard the ship and we're first to get back on the ship from excursions. Yes. Yeah, it does. I watch them sometimes on my TV too, Miss Nona. It's fine. So I paid $89.95 for this fast to cash. But because I ordered the fast to cash so early and added it to my account, I ended up getting 10% off because I put it on my Carnival Cruise account. But then I turned around and paid it right off. So I also ended up getting $50 on board cash. So I mean, it's like I paid 20 bucks for it. I mean, when you figure in all of my rebates and discounts. So, my husband and I are going to wait until we're actually on the ship. You can save money by pre-ordering your shore excursions. However, if you have bad weather or if they have to bypass a port or they cancel a port of call, then you're out that money. You don't get that money back. So we don't want to order those ahead of time. Oh, let's see. We did see a couple tours that we wanted to do. I got excited about it. There's one where you take horseback to the Mayan temples. And so you take, instead of taking the Jeep tour, which I saw some pretty scary ratings. I mean, people saying that they drive like freaking maniacs there, and that they thought that the guy was going to flip the Jeep, and the roads are insane, and they were really scared the whole time that the Jeep was substandard mechanically. And so, you know, they've got this other tour where you get on a horse and you take horseback, and then you have a picnic lunch out at the Mayan ruins, and then you take the horses back. So that sounds pretty fun. Another trip we looked at, excited about, is that in Belize, they have this little 11-acre island. They have this 11-acre island where they take you to the island, and they have like little tiki huts there, and you can get some drinks, and it's a little private beach, and they have a boat that takes everybody out to the reef snorkeling, because I don't want to do the snorkeling because my pacemaker. Do you know that my pacemaker attracts sharks? Yes. So I was telling my cardiologist, funny story, I was telling my cardiologist this one time, My husband and I went snorkeling. We were scalloping out in the bay. And I've grown up in the water. I'm afraid of sharks, but I'm not. I'll get in the water. You know what I'm saying? Because there's been so many times in my life that I've had a close call with a shark and I've never been bit. And I've spent a lot of my life in the water. So my husband was at the front of the boat. The current was pretty strong, so we both had safety ropes. And these safety ropes, they tie off to a keel on the boat, and then you wrap them around your wrist. And they do one of two things, because you get down there snorkeling and your back's up and you don't realize how fast you're moving away from your vessel. So we tied ourselves off to the boat and we're just out there drifting and we're scalloping. And my husband's at the front of the boat, I'm at the back. And we're anchored up. Well, lost my place in the story looking for that dog. Okay, so anyway, I see this very person never made New York. I took care of a lady that had, yes. Well, that was pretty cool. The very first pacemaker. Maybe I lost the conversation there. So I'm down diving, getting scallops, and I got a whole big bag full of scallops. So I'm pretty excited about that. And all of a sudden, I get the creepiest feeling in the world. Like, I get this feeling of fear. Like, I'm down there and I'm just relaxing and I'm enjoying just peaceful and serene. And I'm looking at starfish and pufferfish, and it's just beautiful. Natural sea sponges and shells. And I'm watching crabs and blue crabs and little fish and everything. And I'm just all serene and feeling all peaceful. And I get this creepy, creepy feeling. When out of my peripheral vision, I see a very large shadow. So I'm paying attention now to the shadow. I've recognized the dorsal fin on this shadow. And in my head, all at once, I'm thinking that is about a 5 or a 6 foot shark. So I'm trying to watch where the shark is going to, but I've now lost it. It's gone off into the water. Don't know where the shark is. So I start pulling myself into the boat and trying to get my husband's attention to let him know. Normally the sharks that we see when we're scalloping are like black tips. They're really harmless, little tiny hammerheads. They're really harmless. We're only in about 4 foot of water. So, I mean, it's like not like gigantic ocean sharks right there. I mean, I'm sure they come in that far, but we've never had a big problem with big sharks. Calypso, come on. Do you have to smell every blade of grass? Is that necessary? She's smelling everything. So, anyway, I'm pulling myself, and as I'm pulling myself back towards the boat, I'm about 6 foot from the boat, and I'm right where the boat ladder is. So I'm pulling myself into the boat when all of a sudden I feel something brush my leg. Something very large brush my leg. And as anyone knows that lives near saltwater and spends time in saltwater, a shark will usually bump you before they bite. I clear my snorkel and I go back under the water because I want to see him coming. I'm thinking, if I'm going to get bit, I want a chance to defend myself. I'm still with one arm pulling myself back to the boat. And at this point, I was screaming to my daughter, who was supposed to be watching lookout. She was our safety person on the boat. She was about 17 years old. And her job is to do nothing but watch out for other boats coming, even though we have the dive flag. So we have the dive flag in the air. She's supposed to be watching for other boats. She's supposed to be watching for distress. She's supposed to be making sure we're coming up out of the water. And she's supposed to be readily available when our scallop bag gets full, so she can empty the scallops in the cooler and hand us our bags back. She had her headphones in. So I am screaming at the top of my lungs, and my husband is under the water. He can't hear me. That is when I spot it was a 6 foot bull shark that was arm's distance from me. And at this point, it was incredibly obvious that this bull shark was circling me. He was definitely not, I wasn't just panicking. I wasn't just being hysterical. This shark was circling me. So I knew at this point, it wasn't showing any aggression at this point, but I knew at this point it was just a matter of moments before I would be bumped again or bit. So I'm screaming at the top of my lungs as soon as I recognize how close this shark is to me. I stopped screaming. I literally took my scallop bag. It's a little mesh bag about the size of a 1-quart Ziploc. It's just a little mesh bag that you put the scallops in, and it's got a little rope that velcros around your wrist. So you can catch the scallop and put it in the bag easily. Well, I take this scallop bag and I throw it at my husband as hard as I can. I want this bag to hit him, to get his attention, to get him up. So I start climbing up the ladder on our boat, and I got 1 foot on the ladder when I feel I get hit again. And it was the big omore, which is the sucker fish, that big sucker fish that you see that attaches itself to sharks. That fish has now attached itself to my leg, and I completely lose my shit. Completely. I am out of control at this point. I hit my knee on that ladder so hard that instantaneously my knee swelled up black and blue. I am literally jumping over the side of our very large 20-foot boat and screaming my head off for my husband. So I'm safely out of the water. Oh, I was so angry at Elizabeth. I'm like, you were supposed to be safety. You were supposed to be our lookout. I could have drowned. I could have, anyway, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But that was the most horrifying incident with a shark that I've ever had in my entire life. Well, anyway, so I was telling my doctor, so I was at my doctor, and my doctor was talking about my pacemaker, and I'm like, did you see something happen 2 Sundays ago? Because I was joking. I said, did you see my heart rate about 500 beats a minute? And he's like, no, why? What happened? And I told him about the shark, and he says, you do realize that having a pacemaker, if your pacemaker starts pacing your heart underwater, sharks can feel that from miles away. It's an electromagnetic sensation. He's like, so you actually, if you're in the water, you're actually more prone to attract sharks. I'm like, oh, freaking fantastic. So ever since my doctor has informed me, girls, get off the road. Girls, off the road. I teach them to get completely off the road when a car's coming. Stay off the road. Stay. Good girls. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. So ever since, yes, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, and thank you for joining us, Vicki. So, it's crazy. So ever since then, I don't go in the water. And my husband, to be honest with you, he's like, babe, he's like, I really don't want to swim next to you anymore. So anyway, that was, I've had several incidences in my life, close calls with sharks. But you know what? You're in their territory. Anytime you go in the ocean, you're in their territory. And let me tell you about the other scary shark thing that I had happen to me when I was younger. So we used to live across the street from this park called Oldsmar Park. And there was this very long fishing pier that went out into the bay. Now my brother and I, who are a year and a half apart, we spent endless hours out on this bay. We catamaraned, we skimboarded, we swam, we rode our bikes off the pier, we fished off the pier, and it was good fishing. Rarely ever did you see a shark. Sometimes you'd see a dolphin, but even it wasn't good area for dolphin. You would see a ton of stingray though during stingray season. But other than that, rarely. And if you did catch a shark, it was like a little small baby 2-3 foot shark. It wasn't Wasn't anything, I mean, it could hurt you, but it couldn't kill you, right? Unless it got a jugular vein or something. I don't know. Bit you by the head, I guess. It could have killed you. But anyway, so the bottom part of this pier used to have a floating dock where you could pull your boat up to, and the dock would bounce up and down with the waves, and you would tie your boat off, and it would keep you level with the boat. The dock would keep level with the boat. So I was sitting there, and I love to sit on that floating dock because I used to take off my shoes and socks and put my feet in the water. And I always thought it was really cool because the little minnows would come up and bite your toes, and every once in a while, a little bit bigger fish, like a pinfish or something, or a grunt would come up and tap you on the toe, but nothing bigger than my hand, My girls have, I don't know what kind of bird that is. My girls are excited. I don't know. I honestly don't know what kind of bird that is. Probably just a mockingbird. Anyway, so let's see, where was I? So I'm sitting on this floating dock and I'm fishing. And the fishing was exceptionally good that day. I think I'd caught a couple redfish. I caught a couple speckled trout. I had a ton of grunt and pinfish. I think I caught a couple whiting. I mean, I just caught a ton of fish that day. And I'm sitting there, and my brother and his friends were all fishing at the top part of the pier. So I'm down on the floating dock. Hey, how's it going? Yes, isn't that, you know what? I used to have Miss Nona, my uncle, my Aunt Mary and Uncle Mel used to have, they used to do, I want to say catfish. They used to have a fish hatchery. Is it called a fish hatchery? So they used to have this fish hatchery. And same thing when we go swimming, their little fish would just nibble on our feet while we were there. But anyway, so I'm sitting on this floating dock and I've got my feet hanging over the edge and I'm fishing, just sitting there, when all of a sudden my brother and his friends said, "Mel, get out of the water, get out of the water." But I couldn't really understand what they were, because they were all screaming it like at different times. They were like screaming over each other and I couldn't understand what. I was like, what? What's in the water? It was like one of those deals. Anyway, just about the time that happened, I feel something rubbing, not tapping, not nibbling, something rubbing the bottom of my feet. Off the road, Carmi. Here comes a car. Off the road. So I feel something rubbing, like gliding below my feet. And I look down between my legs and instantaneously, I'm telling you, I peed my pants. I totally pissed myself. I'm sitting there, and as I look down between my legs, there was a 10-foot hammerhead shark. And he was gliding just he or she, I don't know. I'm saying it was a he, but it could have been a she, I don't know. So anyway, come on, girls. It's getting dark and you can't stop and smell every blade of grass. I'm sorry, not today. But anyway, so this huge, massive shark is gliding beneath my feet. And I peed on it. I did. I totally peed on that shark. So that's my only revenge. Oh my gosh. You know what though? The guys would have normally given me the hardest time about that, but not one of them. They were all looking at me and they watched what happened, and there was like, and my brother said it was like it was in slow motion and I couldn't stop it. And he said all I could imagine was that shark just flipping around and grabbing you by the foot and pulling you in. And he's like, there was no way we could have saved you, and I'm like, well, you probably wouldn't have anyway, but big brother thing. But anyway, so are we back to smelling every blade of grass? As you can see, it gets pretty dark pretty quick here, as it does everywhere. I can't wait to change the clocks back. How many of you? Thumbs up and comment if you hate when it gets dark so early. I hate this. It's like, what is it? Hold on. It is 6. It's not even 7 o'clock in the evening. And look how dark it's getting. I hate it. Because like when I'm working Monday through Friday, I get off at 4 o'clock sometimes. Let me put it this way. My scheduled time off is 4 o'clock. And I have almost an hour commute home. So I don't walk through my door until 5:30. And when it gets dark like this, and the reason is we have, as you can see, a lot of woods around us. And we have a lot of coyotes here. And the water was, your message disappeared. I'm going to have to read that, Sheena. I don't know. Usually the messages stay up a little bit longer. But we have a lot of coyotes in this neighborhood. And, you know, these girls are not going to protect me. Off the road. Off the road, girls. I hate it in the dark morning. Night, we're pitch dark here. No streetlights. Yes, Miss Nona. You're going to see here in a minute. Look at these jackasses. It's a residential neighborhood, and they're doing about 50 in a 30-mile-an-hour speed zone. Sorry about the cursing, but it just makes me mad. It's a young kid with a Mustang. Look, see up there? No street lights. I mean, these people have their mailbox lights, but you're going to see as we get closer to my house that nobody, we don't have any street lights out here. I know, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Oh, people just have no respect. No respect. But now that we're past all that, it gets really dark on our street. That's the end of the street. And we have one neighbor that's got some lights, and we've got this street light here. But other than that, the road that I live on is 1 mile long. And as you can see by the elevation, if I go all the way down to the bottom of the hill and back up, by the time I get to my house, it is equivalent to walking 12 flights of stairs. When I had Foster's run away, a town that was bright because of street lights. Yeah, I grew up in Oldsmar, and we did have some street lights, but just across the bay, we could see Dunedin and Safety Harbor. We weren't far from Clearwater. If you went somewhere on like a 2-3 story building, you could see the Courtney Campbell Causeway. You could see the Philippi Parkway from where I lived. I loved growing up on the water, and that's why I'm such a water baby now. Seriously. That is a football, Karma. These little kids left a football in their yard, and she thinks it's a turtle. Come on, that is not a turtle. Look at her. She's a freaking nut. Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of like that our neighborhood is dark. Just because I think if you light it up, it creates problems. I think people would probably be a little bit more leery walking into a very dark yard. I got a lot of lakes by me. Family show of 4. Yeah, that's what I love about where I am in Citrus County. Yes, as far out as you live, Miss Sheena, you are lucky to have electric. But we live in Citrus County, and where we live, if we drive about 18 miles, we're in the Gulf of Mexico, one direction, and we're only about 3 miles away from a lake. So a big lake called Lake Hernando. Just about anywhere you go. But that's why I love Florida, because I can drive 20 minutes and I can be in the Gulf of Mexico, or I can drive an hour and a half and be in the Atlantic Ocean. It's only about a 2-hour drive across the state. Lake Erie. Is that in Ohio, Miss Nona? I know Lake Erie's in, let's see. Lake Erie's in Ohio, isn't it? New York? Yeah, I guess Lake Erie. Okay. Well, off the road, girls. Off the road. Wow. But anyway, so my mom and dad grew up in Ohio, not far from Lake Erie. So I didn't know. I guess it's the same big lake, isn't it? But you see how dark it's getting? How fast it's getting dark? And then that's the road going to my house. So other than people having driveway lights, there's just no lights out here. So anyway, so my 365 days to 50 vlog ended up being about sharks. Baby shark, doo 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 doo, baby shark, doo doo. Yes, it is a large lake. I mean, so anyway, so I had a rest day today, and I overate my calories. I did it out of boredom, and I've really got to just stop buying pumpkin seeds because I have found that pumpkin seeds are like kryptonite. I can't just, normally I measure out a quarter cup of pumpkin seeds and I can't walk away. I get another quarter cup and then another quarter cup. And you know, one serving is only like 4 carbs. One serving of pumpkin seeds only like 4 carbs. And it's a lot of salt. And pumpkin seeds are actually a very good, perfect protein. But, you know, then I end up eating 3 servings and then I'm at 12 carbs and yeah, 400 calories just in pumpkin seeds today. So anyway, I'm not going to be too hard on myself. I am finishing up my walk. And since it's getting so dark, for my safety and my fur baby's safety, oh, I want to show you this. I do have this very cool light though. Hey, wait for mommy. Hold on. This light here, it's either a little tiny pen light, but it's a heavy metal. Hold on, let me turn this off. But it's a heavy metal rod. So if a large animal, this end here is like a hammer. So if someone were to come after me or anything like that, I could really knock the you know what out of somebody or a dog, whatever. And I like that I can hold the light like this, and then anyone coming can see the dogs, you know, so they don't run us over. But anyway, I'm going to get off here because it is getting very late, and we do have coyotes and foxes and everything else in this neighborhood, and I do see someone up the street. So for safety, I'm going to get off of here. I hope you guys have a great night. Sorry my 365 days to 50 was, you know, a little lame tonight, but, you know, that's just the way it is. I hope you guys have a